Today we are going to have the latest on Resident Evil 6, the Elder Scrolls MMO Dishonored, and the rest of E3's biggest games.
Plus Call of Duty Black Ops 2 and Infinity Blade Dungeons, the best looking game on the iPad. X-Play starts right now.
Hello and welcome to X-Play's Road to E3. I am Blair Hurdle.
And I am Morgan Webb, and we are just days away from the year's biggest gaming event. Consider this a warm-up.
Yeah, a slow round of calisthenics, if you will.
Yeah.
For your soul. Coming up on today's show, the producer of Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, yes, that's a real word, reveals the truth behind the game's insane viral marketing. Then we've got your first look at the new trailer for Assassin's Creed 3.
Plus the latest on what will probably be the year's biggest moneymaker, Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
It's a safe assumption.
Yeah, and later we've got an exclusive trailer for Defiance. It's an MMO and a TV show at the same time. Wrap your head around that.
I'm trying so hard. But first, games that are simultaneously big ones and heavy hitters.
There's a huge MMO, an open-world shooter, the biggest zombie franchise around, and a steampunk assassination sim.
That sounds so awesome.
I know.
You're going to be seeing a whole lot more of these at E3 next week on our show, as well as right now. You, outside the door. What are you doing? Ladies and gentlemen, it's Al Bundy's favorite segment, Big Ones. And with E3 on the horizon, new details are sure to be popping up soon. First up is the game that was just announced, an MMO take on one of the longest-running RPG franchises, The Elder Scrolls. The Elder Scrolls Online is set around 1,000 years before X-Play's 2011 Game of the Year, which was Skyrim. Not much has been revealed yet, so look for more details, like a possible release date, at E3.
And from every corner, darkness grows.
Up next is a game that looks to be a steampunk mixture of Assassin's Creed and BioShock. Dishonored comes to us from the publishers of Skyrim and members of the art team behind Half-Life 2. You play as Corvo, an Imperial bodyguard framed for the assassination of his Empress. Using supernatural powers, he is on a mission to clear his name by, of course, assassinating people. Dishonored features multiple paths to unravel the mystery and includes the ability to freeze time, teleport short distances, and even possess any living being, be it human or a plague-infested rat. Japan's most famous survival horror game is up next on our list with Resident Evil 6. In addition to facing off with the old dumb zombies, this time you square off against a more intelligent zombie-like creature capable of planning attacks using weapons and healing themselves. With RE6, you get to select between 3 different storylines set in China, Eastern Europe, and inside the presidential bunker. That's right, Zombie President.
Mr. President!
For an early demo of all the excitement of Executive Order Brains, pick up a copy of Dragon's Dogma, out now for the Xbox 360, for a crack at it 60 days early.
Stay right where you are.
And speaking of back to basics, the upcoming 3rd installment of the Far Cry series is leaving the malaria-filled horrors of Africa behind and going back to its tropical roots. Far Cry 3 features a new character that must fight his way off an island that the game's developers are calling 10 times larger than previous Far Cry maps. A new cover mechanic makes clearing out various outposts a little safer as you fire from cover, and you may need it, as Ubisoft has promised unhinged and insane enemies to face off with in this new installment. Check it out for yourself when it comes out on September 4th. Keep it tuned to X-Play for more details as E3 rips the cover off of the big ones.
In the weeks leading up to E3, we have seen some mysterious cryptic videos hinting at what is to come in Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. In fact, the first one actually aired on X-Play. But what does it all mean? Well, you will be one step closer to the truth after you see this interview with the game's producer. Metal Gear fans have patiently waited years for Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, starring badass cyborg Ninja Raiden. Konami has quietly started promoting the game with a new viral video series. These clips depict how Raiden became the cyborg killing machine we saw in Metal Gear Solid 4. The clip titled Arm shows Raiden in the process of having his left arm cyborgized, which turns out to be a very important part of a cyborg.
Each cyborg has a memory storage unit implanted into their left arm that records all combat data. Because the cyborg researchers are trying to gather the combat data to make even stronger cyborgs, it is in high demand. In the game, it is possible for the players to deliver their data to the researchers, and in turn have Raiden's abilities customized.
The second clip, Eye, shows Raiden's eye being replaced after being injured by a rival cyborg working for a rogue PMC.
The character that wounded Raiden is called Sam. Sam is written in this game as Raiden's rival. Raiden stands on opposing sides to Sam in many different areas in the story, and as Sam and Raiden meet several times, they start to influence each other.
Finally, while all the videos flash back to Raiden's training as a young boy, the sword clip is almost entirely flashback and features a very familiar voice, Solidus Snake.
There's honor in a blade, Jack.
Those who played Metal Gear Solid 2 should already know, but Solidus is the mastermind who trained Raiden into a child soldier. The act of slashing someone with a sword would usually be very traumatizing for most people, but what will Raiden feel when trained like this? That is one of the most important aspects of the Metal Gear Rising story.
Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance is currently slated for release by the end of 2012.
Coming up on X-Play, we have got your first look at the new trailer for Assassin's Creed 3. Here's a spoiler, it's awesome. And the latest on Call of Duty Black Ops 2, plus the most shocking, earth-shattering, spine-tingling E3 moments of all time that don't involve Ridge Racer, and the exclusive new trailer for Defiance. It's a new MMO, and it's a TV show at the same time. What does it all mean? You're gonna see right after this. Welcome back to X-Play's Road to E3. After a very long stay in the Middle East and Italy, the Assassin's Creed franchise is finally coming to America. Now, you won't be playing during the modern Soul Glow era, and you won't have a job at McDowell's, but you're going to be playing during the American Revolution. That means there will be some George Washington name dropping in this game. Here's your first look at the game's new trailer.
On this land, I am torn. Part of me wants to fight and repel all outsiders. The other part of me is the outsider. In the name of liberty, I will fight the enemy, regardless of their allegiance. While men of courage write history of this day, the future of our land depends on those who are truly free.
if you own an iPhone or an iPad, Infinity Blade 1 and 2 are great games to play on the touchscreen. Medieval Punch-Out works, but for the upcoming Infinity Blade Dungeons, the formula is getting a change. Say goodbye to dodging attacks and say hello to Diablo-inspired dungeon crawling. Epic's Rod Ferguson gave us all of the details. Since Infinity Blade first hacked its way onto the iOS, it's been one of the hottest franchises in mobile gaming. But whereas the first two installments have been focused on one-on-one swordplay, the next one promises a wholly different experience.
Infinity Blade Dungeons is a sort of an action RPG, a dungeon crawler, if you will. It basically tells a story of an apprentice to the Master of the Forge who wants to craft this weapon, the Infinity Blade, to sort of destroy the Deathless. There's two sides to the gameplay. There's the exploration, the dungeon crawling, if you will, to be able to go in and fight cool monsters and explore different areas. But what you're actually doing is you're trying to collect materials. Because the other half of the game is back at the Forge, where you actually will craft better and better weapons until you essentially can craft the Infinity Blade.
It was the exhaustive push to finish Gears of War 3 that led Epic towards mobile gaming.
Essentially, we've been working on Gears for 8 years. And we felt like it would be a good opportunity to let people sort of kind of refresh their brains, get creative, and think about new things. And people were able to go for a week and go build something just based on their passion. And one of the things that came out of that was dungeons. So we took that sort of passion game from this small team of, I think it was 7 people, and then we gave it an appropriate amount of resourcing and actually started to develop it and build it up even more. So it's been great to see how it's sort of transformed from this week-long project to now being on the Apple stage demo to where it is now as part of the franchise of Infinity Blade.
Infinity Blade Dungeons stabs its way onto iPhone and iPad later this year. Coming up on XPlay, we are going to have the latest on a little game called Call of Duty Black Ops 2, plus the most shocking E3 moments ever, and an exclusive trailer for Defiance, which is an MMO as well as an upcoming TV show. Yes, they all tie together. We'll be right back.
Fun fact, during E3, the lives of many gamers are in serious jeopardy. That's because a sedentary lifestyle mixed with earth-shattering announcements equals heart failure. We're about to show you the 5 most shocking moments in E3 history, which managed to kill 37 people already. Enjoy. E3 most shocking. Number 5. No one was surprised when Peter Moore introduced Halo 2 at E3 2004. But he shocked us all when he brought out the big guns to reveal the release date.
November the 9th, the moment Xbox Nation's been waiting for.
Number 4.
Deploying surprise in 3, 2, 1.
It shocked everyone when Valve's Gabe Newell stepped onto Sony's stage in 2010. Why?
Now, I've been pretty outspoken in my comments about the current generation of game consoles. I'd really like to thank everyone at Sony for not repeatedly punching me in the face.
Number 3.
My name is Reggie. I'm about kicking ass. I'm about taking names. And we're about making games.
Not only did Reggie Fils-Aimé start off Nintendo's 2004 E3 presser with a shockingly bro-tastic intro,
I'm about kicking ass.
He debuted a lineup that would start Nintendo's re-emergence as the #1 name in video games.
Nintendo's revolution.
Number 2.
Hi, we're the Booth Babes.
Booth Babes and E3 go together like the munchies and a bag of cookie dough. That's why it was so shocking when the ESA basically banned gamers' favorite joystick teasers at E3 2006. Thankfully, the threat of a $5,000 fine and millions of deposits at the Spank Bank didn't scare away any of the Booth Babes.
Awesome!
Number 1.
Ridge Racer.
The most shocking moment of E3 history wasn't Ridge Racer or Sony's horrifically embarrassing 2006 press conference.
Hop on its stomach and you attack its weak point for massive damage.
It was how much we were going to have to pay to own a PS3.
20 gigabyte PlayStation 3 will retail for $499 US. The 60 gigabyte PlayStation 3 for $599 US.
Now that's what you call an E3 shocker.
One game you'll be hearing a lot more about next week is Defiance. It's an open-world MMO shooter, which is pretty ambitious by itself. But if that's not enough, the game will tie in with the new Syfy series of the same name. Here is an exclusive look at the new trailer.
Surviving an arc fall is easy if you have friends. But to really live, you have to find a place to make a difference.
All right, partners. After the break, get the latest on the next chapter in gaming's biggest franchise. Find out everything you need to know about Call of Duty Black Ops 2, or Blops Dos, right after this short break. Welcome back to the show. Call of Duty, which is only the most successful franchise in gaming, always makes a pretty big splash at E3.
Yes, and this year should be no different.
Yes.
Black Ops 2 shakes up the COD formula with futuristic tech and a ton of new features.
Yeah, and the developers are going to break it all down right now for your eyeballs in this preview. Prepare yourself for a whole new battlefield. The technology designed to protect a nation has fallen into the wrong hands, and it's up to you to stop it. Welcome to Call of Duty Black Ops 2.
The setting is actually two different settings. One everybody's heard about is actually in the future, it's 2025, and it's a sequel to Black Ops. So we do have that sort of old story with Mason and Woods and Hudson that takes place now at the end of the Cold War. So we're going to have locations in the 1980s, key hot zones that are there, but really most of the story is told in 2025.
To ground the story in reality, Treyarch recruited the expertise of retired Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North and Brookings Institute senior fellow Peter Singer.
North really focused us on the Cold War and sort of the key hot zones of the 80s. And in the future, we've been dealing with Peter Singer, and he's really a futurist. He looks at everything that's going on from a geopolitical landscape with all the different countries and what's going on from a technical standpoint, and advises world leaders on things they should be concerned about.
Expect game director Dave Anthony and the Dark Knight writer David Goyer to change the way you experience the story.
As we jump to the future, we have David Mason, and we sort of see his story evolve really during the Cold War, and then what happens then in the future.
Look forward to some new weapons and technology, which you'll use in both single and multiplayer.
I think this time around, we've got quad rotor weapons, which you've seen, which are really cool. We have the autonomous vehicles. You saw the claws, which are those sort of quadrupeds that go through. You'll be able to control all of those within the game.
In addition to new weapons, the multiplayer will expand in other ways as well.
A lot of new elements to multiplayer. I can't tell you very much. A lot of sort of inspiration from esports, a lot of things with social, and how we sort of grow that sort of community within Call of Duty, and then leveraging Elite more than we ever have before, integrating a lot of those features within the multiplayer game itself.
And of course, there's zombie mode.
Mark referenced sort of the 4v4 in terms of zombies. So what does that mean? Well, that means that my team of 4 versus your team of 4 with a horde of zombies changes the gameplay quite a bit. So all the things you know and love from zombies is going to be there. We're going to change up the game modes and give players a lot of different ways to play zombies that we think is going to be a lot of fun.
Call of Duty Black Ops 2 will deliver its payload on November 13th, 2012.
Next week, the biggest video game event is finally here, and G4's got it covered like no one else. E3 12 Live. We'll take you to the show floor for the latest news, reveal the latest trailers, and go hands-on with every game that will have the world buzzing. And starting June 11th, we move from the future to the past. It's our countdown of the top 100 video games of all time. From Mario to Master Chief, 8-bit graphics to stunning high def, find out what titles really are the best of the best. The week-long event kicks off Monday, June 11th at 8.
All right, so in case you guys are keeping track at home, between E3 and then our top 100 video games of all time, this is our biggest month of the entire year. Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. We're going to have press conferences on G4 and on G4TV.com, so definitely check them out there.
Absolutely.
And we have about a gabillion demos, about 1 gabillion is the official number.
Yeah, that is an official number. We only had 40 last year, and that almost killed us, so the gabillion is going to guarantee one of us will die. Yep. So
Watch
enjoy
the
us
train
now.
wreck happen. I'm just kidding. Thank you for watching X-Play. It's going to be awesome.